Hi guys, it's album review time. So an album review dedicated to one album, and what a special album that is. Nordic Union and Animalistic. So the man himself, Erik Martinson, sent me this album early. It comes out on August the 5th on Frontiers. It's the third album by this project, Nordic Union. Both the albums so far have been amazing. I think the debut for me just edges it so far. But let me get into whether, I think that this one edges both of those. So way back when I interviewed Erik Martinson, and man, I'm such a fan, and it just amazes me that I got to talk to Erik Martinson. I met him once outside a gig as well in London, had a photo taken, and then I actually got to interview him, and he is just one amazing musician, really well known in the melodic hard rock scene. Obviously loads of stuff he's got going on. He's got his main band Eclipse, who are just a top band. He's obviously got his projects with Jeff Scott Soto and others in Wet. He's done some stuff with Jimmy Jamison, the late Jimmy Jamison. He wrote an album and did that for him. That was an amazing album. He's just got his fingers in so many pies, but he doesn't get stretched whatsoever. It doesn't show. His songwriting capability and basically his musicianship is just amazing. It really is. I mean, he's such a busy guy. You would think there would be some let up in the quality of the stuff he produces, and there definitely is not. If anything, I think the quality is better now than ever. I mean, last year, the Eclipse album was just one of the top albums Eclipse have ever made, in my opinion. And Retransmission from Wet is my favourite album from Wet as well. So he's in top form, and he's carried that over onto the Nordic Union album. This, for me, is my favourite Nordic Union album. It's just amazing. It's quite heavy, but of course, it's so fucking catchy, as everything that Erik Martinson writes. I mean, he's just a brilliant songwriter. So, I mean, if anyone doesn't know, he does all those things that I've been talking about, but he plays guitar on this. He plays some bass, some keys. He writes the songs, and he is a brilliant producer. He doesn't actually sing on this album, does some backing vocals, but we'll get on to the rest of the musicians in a minute. But the sound of this album is amazing, and everything he touches in the studio really is. I mean, it just sounds better and better. If you go back and listen now to the first, when he started producing Eclipse and the Wet album, the first Wet album, you see the progression in his production as well. A huge sound on his albums. I mean, the Cruel Intentions album this year that was released, just have a listen to that, how big that sounds. So amazing producer, amazing musician, amazing songwriter. So in the band, obviously, is the amazing Ronnie Atkins from Pretty Maids. Man, his vocals, is he getting better? I don't know. He just seems to be getting better. He's got some real aggression on some of these vocals as well. Some real energy. He's on top-notch form on this album, let me tell you. I mean, he's so busy at the moment as well. We all know about the health problems from Ronnie, and, but he's just given us loads of music now. He's so busy, and, that's one good thing we're getting out of it. So much music from Ronnie. He's an amazing singer. As far as Ronnie as well, you got Fredrik Folkjær on the guitar. You got Thomas Larsson does guitar on 3 tracks. So I'm not really sure. I mean, Erik Martinson does some lead guitar. Fredrik Folkjær and Thomas Larsson all play lead guitar on this. So there's some amazing solos throughout. Obviously, the guitar work is it's just a musician's dream. It really is. It's just all over this. There's loads of riffing, loads of frenetic riffing. It's an amazing album for, close to metal sometimes as well, I would say. Definitely the hardest album Nordic Union have produced, in my opinion. You've got Henrik Eriksson also on the drums. Just man, if you're going to be in this project with these musicians, you've got to get top drummer as well, and that's exactly who they've got here. He's amazing as well. Every song on here is worth talking about. So On This Day I Fight, the first song, you get like a quiet 10 seconds. It just starts up and it sort of sets you up, and then you get a crushing riff. It's a heavy, fast track. The amazing production means that none of the heaviness is lost in the tempo of the track. Sometimes faster tracks lose that heaviness. Not here. It's heavy, it's relentless, and it just adds so much energy blasting out of the speakers. You could even say some of the riffing, because I know that Eric Martinson's a bit of a thrash metal fan. It's got some thrash overtones, I would say, as well, for sure. Next up, we have the single Every Waking Hour. The energy and pace is sustained on this one with a great rocking song. Almost power metal, some of the riffing in nature, I would say, but not in that power metal where it's a little bit happy, and we're talking some darker stuff here. Maybe not quite as riff heavy as the opening track, but the power is not lost whatsoever. A grower of a chorus, because I mean, when I first heard the song, I was blown away, but the chorus didn't really get me that much. But the more you hear it, the more it grows on you. A brilliant heavy rhythm section as you go through the solo section. Love the mellow ending as well, really different. So great track. If I Could Fly is next. It's like an eerie beginning, a bit creepy, leads to a brilliant heavy riff. And then there's No Let Up again, a brilliant soaring chorus, maybe a future single. You're going to hear me say that a lot on this review. Again, slight power metal vibes, I would say, but it's on the darker side of power metal again. Those verses are so heavy, brilliantly balanced with that ultra catchy chorus. Riot is the next song, and you would be forgiven for thinking a title like that, we're going to get heaviness again, but it's a ballad. Ronnie smashes this song. He really does. Beautiful vocal over this ballad. It's the first time you sort of get a breather, and I think it's come in the perfect place, the fourth track in. This is the sort of thing we want to hear from Def Leppard. I mean, I thought of Def Leppard when I was hearing this song. Sometimes Ronnie's voice, I think he took some influence from Def Leppard. You know, they were huge, especially in the 80s. And I think Ronnie, throughout his career, I don't know if this is true or not, but I can hear like Joe Elliott in his voice sometimes. Classic Joe Elliott, by the way, you know, the roar of Elliott when in the early 80s. But if Def Leppard brought this song out now, man, I'll be all over it. Just amazing stuff. This Means War is next. With that title, you think you're getting something a bit heavy, and you're right. You are right. The best riff so far on this for me, and that's saying something, kicks off this slow to medium pace heavy rock track. That galloping metal riff is just amazing. It gets your neck going for sure. For the 4 minutes, you'll be going like that. Your neck will be aching. This one blew me away. What a fucking solo as well. I mean, I'm not talking about the solos much because they're just all over this album. I could say every song has got an amazing solo, but this one really stood out for me. It's a bit of a folky sort of guitar melody. I think Eric sometimes brings that feeling sometimes into Eclipse, and it's slight on this one, but only this one I would say a major highlight of the album. Scream is next. Maybe the first song that sort of feels like it would have fitted maybe on, especially the first Nordic Union album, I would say. Catchy, chuggy, a huge chorus. Another future single, I reckon. Really gives me some Eclipse vibes, this one. But that's going to be obvious, you know. He's songwriting. It's Eric writing this, so you're going to get those Eclipse vibes sometimes. It will spill over. An amazing track again. The title track, Animalistic, is next. What a killer riff again. Jakey Lee-esque, like Bark at the Moon. Imagine that sort of riff. Ronnie sounds immense here. A real aggression and energy to his vocal. He sounds fucking brilliant on this album. It's intense, it's energetic, heavy rock track. Brilliant stuff. And actually stand out again. Wildfire is next. They return to the somewhat slightly power metal sound, I would say. The track also reminds me a little bit of the brilliant Pretty Maids track Future World. It really does. It's sort of the way the verses are structured. It's like a quiet sort of verse and goes heavy. Another excellent track that gives you absolutely no let up. Shot in the Dark is next. Not the Aussie track, but a fucking great track nonetheless. This has a huge sound. I love Ronnie's singing over a sort of a cool running bass line. Sort of reminds me a little bit of Love Games from Pretty Maids way back when. The track is so epic, man. Martinson's production just brings out the best as well in this brilliant track. Last Man Alive, an acoustic guitar vocal start this track. I love Ronnie over an acoustic guitar. It's a ballad of sorts, I would say, especially compared to what we've had so far, the heaviness throughout the album. A real instant catchy chorus. I keep saying surely a single, but this is another one. King for a Day is the last track. A great anthem to finish this excellent album off. Catchy as hell, chuggy, and it's perfect. A huge chorus. You know, you're going to say by now, there's so many choruses all the way through this, but you would expect, you know, Martinson, he just writes amazing choruses. Doesn't matter how many he writes and how busy he is, just chorus after every album he does. Probably the best Nordic Union album so far, like I said at the beginning. Amazed about this album. These guys, I mean, they've been going, obviously Ronnie's been going a long time now. Eric's been going quite a while now. You know what I mean? Since he's been making music, it's been with Eclipse from the beginning. And the amount of work he puts in, so much music, but there's no let up. I think it's getting better. I seriously do. I just look up to Eric Martinson so much. I just think he's an amazing talent. I don't know, would you say underrated? Because I think a lot of people are rating him now, you know, but still not heard of enough. Should be huge. Should be like, fucking hell, you know what I mean? He should be on filling out stadiums, in my opinion, with all the bands that he's in. So an amazing album, guys. Totally guaranteed that you're going to love this. I mean, so recommended. August the 5th on Frontiers. Animalistic, Nordic Union. It's a must buy, guys. I'll see you soon.